everybody, and welcome back to Rise of the Podcast. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Kara.
I'm the Mandalorian. No, I'm Brownie.
You wish you were the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I wish you were the Mandalorian.
Guns are my religion.
I've been excited. Okay, so Disney Plus just came out, and what an awesome streaming service it is. Even though we just spent an entire show complaining about all the different streaming services, and with that being brought up, there is an Instagram post I saw that if you got them all, it'd be about $97 if you got all the current streaming services.
It shows all the streaming services and how much it would end up costing, and then it showed a picture of Kenobi from Revenge of the Sith, and it says, you were supposed to be the one to destroy Cable, not join them.
That's what it feels like. I do have to say, though, if I had to pick one, I think I would stick with Disney Plus.
We were going
agreed.
through, so we watched the first 2 episodes of The Mandalorian.
So good.
We were going through just different shows that they had on there, and I was just taking trips down memory lane.
Totally.
When I first got there, they had the beginning of an episode of DuckTales going, and it's knew the theme song as I was walking in with it on mute.
But there's DuckTales, Tailspin,
Goof Troop, Darkwing Duck,
Oh.
Rescue Rangers.
So what I love is, I was going to tell you, so the first episode of Darkwing Duck on Disney Plus, the plant guy becomes the plant.
Bushroot.
And he's interested in Dr. Rhododendron.
Oh my god.
Rhododendron.
Yep.
And so I was like, I would have never got that as a kid.
Oh, no, of course not.
It's hilarious
Yeah.
now. It's it's really funny.
I like it a lot.
Definitely
So-
a trip down memory lane.
It's been really cool. I heard Gargoyles is on there. There's a couple
Yeah,
other
that was
really
a Disney show too.
Yeah.
a couple really, really good ones from back in the day. But
So I'm wondering if because there was a lot of Fox Kids animation stuff, and I wonder if
Yes.
any of that's
True.
going to be on
Because
there.
Apple or Disney did buy
Fox.
Yeah, because they have The Simpsons on there, which I've already watched a bunch of The Simpsons. Oh, man. Yeah,
awesome.
we're the most hypocritical people ever. It's streaming
I know,
services knock
I
it off, and now we're just
know.
no, it's
It's so
great.
bad.
No. Disney Plus is great.
Well, here's the thing. Disney Plus is what, $6 a month?
Yeah.
So
For now, just they'll get rate hikes, and then
Of
everyone will
course,
get
yeah.
mad.
Well,
and-
here's the thing. We're locked into the price for the next 3 years.
We bought 3 years of it.
Because you buy the first 2 well, when we did
buy
it
2
was
years,
buy
get
2
one
years,
free.
get a free year. So
And when you think about it, it really doesn't sound that bad. It was $120 plus tax. Was 3 years of streaming.
That's 2 months of cable.
right.
Isn't that cool?
That's really not terrible.
No.
And there is, as much as we want to just kiss Disney's butt right now, because they do have a lot of great stuff on there.
right.
Because of how well they did with The Mandalorian, I might be willing.
Oh, okay. So that's, I think, what we're going to talk about
That's
today.
what we're going to talk
is
about today.
The Mandalorian. So if you haven't seen it, watch it. I get, steal somebody's password, or just don't, as much as we hate to send you away from this, if you don't want to be spoiled, probably just stop listening or watching this podcast.
Well, here's the thing. UK, they're not going to get any of this until March.
Well, nobody watches this in the UK anyway. So.
There's a lot of people who are complaining on the Star Wars pages. So
Sign up for NordVPN, not a sponsor, and then you can proxy server yourself into the United States and watch it.
Yeah, there you go. That's true.
I mean, don't do that because that's against the
completely
rules.
illegal. Do not do that.
Well, it's not illegal to use a VPN.
It's not illegal to use a VPN. It's illegal to use it the way that I just told them.
Well, Chris didn't condone anything.
That's I'm not going to say anything else.
So let's talk about the Mandalorian.
I was going to say, when did they first announce they were doing the Mandalorian TV show?
April at the Star Wars
Was it at
celebration.
the Star Wars celebration?
I think so.
So we've been waiting this whole entire time. It has looked amazing to me since we saw it.
Well, it's fun is Netflix knocked out a lot of their original programming out of the park. And to see Disney come in strong with something like this is really, really cool.
I think the big difference between that is Disney is a media production company.
Right.
And now they're just getting into streaming. And I do want to say something. So when you were talking on the other day about all the streaming services and stuff, and talking about how Netflix is upping their game, whatever, that was their plan all along.
Right.
Was they were going to offer these services, but they knew that eventually licenses will expire or people will want to charge too much for stuff or whatever. And they wanted to have their own content. And so part of their master genius was by serving up everybody else's stuff and collecting the analytics for that. They know what type of things people like to watch.
That's smart.
The type of stuff that will keep people around. And as long as they provide you enough value to keep you subscribed,
Right.
that's all they're trying to do. So that's why they make such a huge huge variety of different stuff.
Right.
But then they also have the analytics to back up how they're producing it and what type of show is made in what type of way with what type of people. Resonate with the widest variety of people to keep people subscribed to Netflix.
Well, that was the other big deal too about Netflix was back in the day was their algorithm about like what it would suggest shows to you, and that was a big part of their business model. But so Netflix is the Google, like the data miner of streaming services.
Absolutely is. And I believe maybe one of you two brought this up during the other podcast, but they were offering bounties to people that could write a better algorithm than
Yes.
them.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
I think I mentioned that.
So yeah, like that's how serious, like, because that algorithm is key to them making money.
Right.
So not only in terms of like serving you up stuff to keep you on the platform, but also in terms of them being able to use that same information to create programming.
It's crazy. Crazy cool. But Mandalorian.
Yes.
Let's do it. All right. I don't know. We're all going to have stuff to say about this. We'll just all jump in whenever we can. But Mandalorian, we got to finally watch it. We sat down, and it started off even strong with just the way that the intro opened up. I was like,
well, yeah, they immediately made the Mandalorian out to be this BA bounty hunter. Like, it wasn't just some really soft intro right into it, you know? And you're kind of like, well, it was good.
Yeah, it starts off and you're in this like weird like bar or something, like in the middle of a frozen wasteland.
Right.
Hoth.
You know, and it's like it's starting with these guys like shaking down this dude. Like, it's a rough and tumble place, and they're setting the tone.
Yes.
I think right away, without giving away too much right now, Jeremy mentioned by the time we were watching the second episode, this is not a show for like young children.
No.
Whereas the bulk of other Star Wars things, it's like it's pretty kid friendly. Like there's some intense action scenes and some implied violence that's pretty hardcore.
Right. Yes.
Well, like, in the very beginning.
He's saying the implied violence would be
The
that
implied
scene.
violence.
We're just going to go full spoiler.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
when the guy gets cut in half with the door.
Yeah.
Yes.
He goes to shoot the Mandalorian, deflects off his shoulder pauldron. Mandalorian grabs him in and then shoots the door shut. And, like, the door just kind of
Yeah, it's one of those, like, iris doors.
Yeah, and just slices the dude
And
right
it's funny,
in half.
too. You commented how cool the door was. Or you commented.
Yeah.
Somebody,
I said, it's like, oh, that's a neat door.
Yeah, it's going to come into play later. But it's fun, too. So you get... I love the overall pace of the show. It keeps your interest the entire time.
Yeah.
The show flew by, but we get to see the inside of his starship was incredible. There, he freezes his bounties in carbonite, and there's like they're all stacked up there.
Yeah.
I loved the calamarian money for whatever reason because it's just
the
like
calamarian plan.
this is 6 years or 5 or 6 years after Return of the Jedi.
5 years.
So it's 5 years later, you know. So the Empire, all those battles at like Jakku and everything, those all happened.
And the beat up stormtrooper armor that the people had.
Yes.
It's just like you can tell like they hadn't been back to like regular base or anything, or maybe it's just stolen at this point, and they're just wearing the armor. But like it just looks like it's been a long time since they've been able to like clean it up and get it polished.
And what's interesting too is because they're in hiding somewhat as well.
Yeah.
It's like so they're like secret supporters
Right.
of the Empire as well.
Well, the Mandalorian goes to get a bounty. Grief has bounties, and he's like, this one is off the books. Like, I don't even have a puck for you to take. You have to go to this guy. So, I don't know. It's super cool.
So we get this mystery bounty that we're looking, for the character to go collect in, and then you get the fun part for the second half of the show is it's like we were trying to say, is it Chewie or is it, we're trying to name off all of these characters. Who could it be? It could have been Wedge or something, 50-year-old male, it could have been Old Man Rex or something.
Oh, Rex.
Well, he would have been like 150.
Seriously, with the way
Not
they
really
age.
so well, yeah. So actually, so this is a sidebar question. So because they rapidly age the clones so that they're in fighting condition. Are they just stuck on rapid aging then?
I don't know.
I mean, well, if you look at the way Rex looks in Return of the Jedi, that's only 20 years after the Clone Wars?
No,
I think
because the Clone Wars. So starting in between episode 2 and 3 is what, like 3 years or something like that, or 5 years, something like that.
Okay, so even if you say,
and then it's 20 years between that and A New Hope.
Yep.
Then it's 5 years to Empire, and then it's like the next year after that for Jedi. So you're talking like 34 years.
But still, I mean, Rex is only at that point
So it
technically
might just be
10
accelerated.
in Clone Wars.
Yeah, but
So-
if they accelerate him up to 30 years old,
And then I think it must go
normal.
He looks pretty ragged for 64.
He looks good for 64. He's got a full beard.
I see 64-year-olds every single day in my dental chair. They do not look like that.
Look out, Jeremy.
I know, right?
Watch out.
I think they age rapidly and then go from there. But anyway, so we get to guess about all the bounties and everything. You know, like who could it be?
Yeah, and like what type, or if it is somebody we haven't met, what are they going to introduce? Is it going to be somebody that's going to be a central figure in the story? Is it going to be, what is it? Yeah,
right. Well, and it's so funny too because you mentioned. So we'll get there. So we get to see the droid. IG-11 is his official name. Great character.
Oh, he's my favorite.
I don't get why he's like, unless they're going to bring him back. Because like he's been kind of front and center of all of the trailers, of the picture you see IG-11 use the Mandalorian and Cara Dune.
Oh, by the way, did you know there was no media that got to see this ahead of time?
Yeah,
I did not.
This was a worldwide, like not worldwide, but like nobody saw any of it before we saw it when Disney Plus premiered.
Yeah,
that's dope.
So that's why it was like a big deal for they didn't want anybody to spoil the fact that who the bounty was going after.
Right.
And so anyways, we get to see IG-11, the way they articulate his movements, and then his voice and his personality. It was like that cheeky sidekick you were looking for.
Yeah, well, and that's something I again said at the beginning. Is like he needs a cheeky sidekick. He needs somebody that like is just like rubs him a little bit the wrong way, but they need to work together to do stuff. And then Jeremy was talking about the way he moves. Every single droid in Star Wars moves differently, and all of them move in like a perfect way.
Right.
Well, so here's what's crazy, and I've said this 100,000 times now. Star Wars does droids well. Well, the Jedi Fallen Order just came out, which is a brand new video game.
Super good so far.
And on the second mission, they introduced a brand new droid called BD-1. And guess what? You two haven't seen the way that he moves or what he looks like up until this point, and it's freaking amazing.
Yeah,
it's so good.
Well, and here's the thing: Jeremy played the second mission this morning, and he came upstairs. He's like, "Well, Kara, they did it again."
Another droid. Like, if you could just know what I'm talking about, it's absolutely crazy.
So now he's slowly warming to the idea of Dio. Slowly.
Well, so will Jeremy like the tissue box droid more than Dio?
The tissue box droid. I don't know. We should just put him right here on the table just for a second, just so people can see what we're talking about.
Yep.
Well, okay, so Kara, keep talking. Chris, I don't want Kara to see this because I want her to be surprised, but that's BD-1.
Oh my goodness, that's Kara's new favorite droid.
The way he moves.
Wait, you think I'm gonna like him better than R2 or BB-8?
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, you're gonna love him.
No, Chris said that's my new favorite.
You're gonna love him.
Well,
He's amazing.
Okay, so when we get home, I'm gonna have to play the second mission.
It's so good. Anyways, so we get to see the droid, and I just like his eyes are moving around. He's shooting, he's not looking, and he's just dual wielding.
It reminded me of I can't remember. I'm spacing on the movie again. The one with Christian Bale.
Equilibrium.
The way that he's moving is like, which is a great movie. Watch it if you haven't.
Amazing movie.
But yeah, so like sort of like the gun fu, like, you know.
Yes, gun fu.
But then like because he's a robot, like he can just like twist things around like in a way that you just couldn't with an actual person, and everything's just like this turny clockwork, like just like it's just like super
accurate,
precise, but like jittery at the same time. So it's like it's just awesome.
I like the funny fluid part too. He gets shot in the side and he's squirting fluid. Just those little details make it really fun. And
the self-destruct joke
that's
is so good.
Great.
Oh, self-destruct. We're trapped again, self-destruct.
My programming does not allow me to get captured. Now initiating self-destruct.
I mean, so there's
will not self-destruct. We're going to shoot our way out of this.
There's people who have like a personality where sometimes they get any type of resistance and then they're just kind of overwhelmed and they're done. And that's what that self-destruct joke was like. But I've had days where I'm like that.
I know. It's like self-destruct.
It's like, okay, yep, I'm done. Try again tomorrow, you know. And so that's really fun. Anyways, we get to see the reveal at the end of the episode, which was a tremendous deal. And you can tell that they obviously needed something big to make it worthwhile. But we get to see Yoda species.
Yeah, so a baby Yoda, whatever Yoda is.
Everybody is referring to him as baby Yoda.
A lot of people are speculating that Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni specifically had him be the bounty, so maybe we might be able to delve into what species Yoda actually is.
That would be dope.
Because as of right now, in Star Wars canon, there's only 3 of them.
Well,
it's the baby Yoda, and then I can't remember the name
Yaddle.
of the other. Yaddle.
What's fun too is they said that with the TV delivery method is that they're able to dive into lore and flush out more of the details about specific lore that they can't address in major movies.
That's always been the advantage of narrative television stuff, is like you have way more time to spend with the characters.
Right. I'd be okay if this TV show went on for quite some time.
I hope it does.
9-episode seasons make me sad, though.
I know.
Jon Favreau did post on, I don't know
already
if it was
a season
Instagram
2.
or Twitter, but yeah, there's a season 2.
So I was going to talk about that. Netflix has 120 or 160 million worldwide subscribers, with the next closest one coming in at 30 or 40, and that's
Hulu, I'm guessing.
Hulu.
Do they
Amazon.
count? Do they count Amazon Prime?
Amazon Prime is not disclosed, and so it's an outlier, or it messes up the stats because so many people have Prime but use it for the shipping services.
Yeah.
So Prime's kind of out there. Anyways, Disney Plus is already coming in with 10 million subscribers.
That's insane.
That is
It's
insane.
only existed for 5 days.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's already a fourth the size of Hulu.
Which Disney also
Oh,
owns.
right. But so that was kind of cool. So it's coming strong, and it's doing way better than they ever thought. And so that's kind of really it's really cool to see that. But anyways, okay, so we get to see this Yoda character, and it's funny because in the next episode, which we got to watch, so spoiler is we're going to start talking about episode 2, and we can intermix.
Which hopefully people will watch, because this
things
is
from
going to be
one.
released until Monday. So that's going to give people 3 or 4 days to actually watch this.
it. But so 2 starts, and I think Yoda kind of becomes that cheeky sidekick that ends
A
up
little
like,
bit, yeah.
Yeah.
working with him, and there's a lot of humor moments.
Well, yeah.
in there.
So like when is it Trandoshans?
Yes.
Yeah, Trandoshans that attack the Mandalorian. You know, they cut his arm and everything, and then you see Baby Yoda crawl out of his little floating cradle, and he tries to like heal his
And he puts him
arm, and the
back.
guys and the Mandalorian's like, no, puts him back in. Baby
Yeah.
Yoda comes back. You know.
It reminds me of, and I can't remember, like, there's a couple of different, like, sort of movies where it's like, you have, like, this, like, rough and tumble cop guy that has
Yeah.
to also deal with protecting a baby.
Yep.
Shoot 'em up. I don't know if you've seen Shoot 'em up
I
with
haven't.
Clive
I haven't
Owen.
seen that one, but
Okay, so it's hard rated R, like lots and lots of violence, but it's really freaking good.
Okay.
But so like he's got to protect this kid the whole time, but also be like this amazing dude with a gun or whatever. I got a lot of sort of like that kind of feeling
Okay.
That's cool.
from it. So that's another really good movie that's worth watching. I'm all coming in all these like movie suggestions all of a sudden.
well, you know, you talk about this guy who's like big and bad with his guns and stuff, but also protecting a child. We finally figure out where no disintegration comes from.
Oh
Yes.
I mean, the
season
Mandalorian's
1,
gun.
or episode-
Oh my goodness.
Episode 1, we see the implied violence with the door cutting off.
Yeah.
And I thought, is that as far as they're willing to go? Because in Clone Wars was dark. That's Dave
Yeah.
Filoni. There's like straight up murder and violence. Then you hit Rebels, and which is a lot toned back, but then there is some stuff, but it's mostly
It's insinuated.
It's implied.
Yeah.
And then you hit Resistance, which is even the most implied up to this point. It's the easiest
Right.
one, definitely generated to a
I don't think
younger
there's any
audience.
deaths on screen.
No, well, it's like if I don't know, they get like
you'll
knocked
see TIE
out
fighters
even.
blown up or anything, stuff like that, but like
That's
you don't
it.
actually see anybody die.
Okay.
So now we saw episode 1. I'm like, okay, is this the attitude that they're going to approach this with? Are they going
Right.
to try to? And then you see episode 2 with the disintegration. It's like, nope, they just did that.
Just comes across a bunch of little. Is it the Trandoshans that get it
the
first?
Jawas. Well, the Trandoshan when he goes to attack Yoda,
Yep, and
Baby Yoda.
like that was an epic scene.
It was
The
like,
Trandoshan's
oh.
going for Yoda to kill him, and the Mandalorian just whips out his gun and goes boosh and pff, like
Yeah.
disintegrated completely. Little flakes of the guy flying.
Like
all over
literally,
the
when
place,
you
like-
imagine somebody getting hit with a disintegration beam, that's
Yeah.
what you would imagine.
It's like so when I saw what was flying off of him, I thought of Endgame.
yes.
Oh, yeah,
When
it's all
yep,
ash, yeah.
it's basically ash that's flying around at that point. It's like
Which Jon Favreau's in.
yeah,
That's true. Yeah.
But
that blew my mind.
I like the
It was so
details of
good.
like him pulling the slugs out and loading him in one by one. It makes
Yeah.
it feel like a powerful gun
Right.
when it comes to that.
Yeah, and it sort of power balances it too, where it's not
Right.
something where he just go like
Right.
and just
Right.
like disintegrate everybody. Like he has to.
And so that's okay. So then we get to the Jawas, which is a hilarious scene. He gets back to his ship, and they're picking it all apart.
Can you imagine?
Who
how
wouldn't disintegrate
devastating
those
that-
Jawas, though, for
I
doing
would
that?
too.
Also, and up to this point, I don't feel like Jawas have really come down as either being like good or bad.
Yes.
but it definitely is
Yeah.
like freaking Jawas.
Right.
But then he goes on.
Yeah, and so so he
He
chase him.
starts blasting them.
Yeah,
and
he starts
like,
blasting him. He starts to, but again, you see the like load shot, and they all freak out and take off. So he chases him down, and that was where some humor came in because you've got Yoda in the little cart there, just going hovering right down behind him.
Yeah, it's like he has like some sort of like proximity tether or something.
Yeah.
Like the carriage will always be so close to him.
Right.
Well, then like he like straight up kills a bunch of Jawas.
Yes.
Right? And it's
Yes.
just like one of those things where it's like at first I was like, ooh, I don't know.
Right,
'Cause,
right.
Like people I think on average think Jawas are kind of cute.
Right, they're
Right.
cool.
You know, that'd be like him running around disintegrating a bunch of Ewoks.
Yeah, it was the same thing.
You know, but if if the Ewoks had like torn his ship apart or something.
Right.
That being said, the Jawas didn't actively help defeat the Empire or anything like
No.
the Ewoks
Right.
did, but I feel like they're on sort of similar
They're
ground
kinda
in terms of
Switzerland.
like
Yeah.
It's like they're kind of cool, they're kind of cute, you know, they make funny noises or whatever.
Houdini.
Yeah. But at the same time, it's like they straight up just like ripped half of his ship apart.
Okay, well, even gets even weirder. Okay, so we get this great episode where he meets Nick Nolte's character again,
Nick
the
Nolte.
Ugnaught, Nick Nolte, the Ugnaught, and helps him. Learns that he can do a trade with him, and that scene's super cool too. So he goes and he's got to get this egg. I call it the Wookiee egg because it's a hairy egg. And so he goes and gets this egg and he fights this big beast. And then we get to see
it's a mudhorn, I think it's called.
I don't know what it's called,
I'm fairly certain it's a mudhorn.
but it's kicking his butt.
I love it because he goes in there and all of a sudden he sees movement, and then they pan out, they go out, and you see in the cave just red flashes of his blaster going off, and then him getting chucked from the cave.
Yeah.
Poor guy, just getting.
Oh, his chest
Slapped
armor's
up.
mangled. He's getting smashed into the pavement or into the mud.
Yep.
There's a great. You're like, oh, it would suck to shoot that with all the mud and everything.
like not only for the actor, which would like obviously be like really like if you're wearing a costume that's probably pretty uncomfortable.
Right.
And then it's like now you got to run around in the mud, and it's like you can't really fake mud that well,
Right.
you
Right.
know. It's like they can try and mitigate as much as they can, but it's still going to be a slippery, goopy mess. And then on top of that, you have to try and like also film that too, and it's like just
it's
moving
mud
gear
mud.
around in the mud and
Right. And so
it looked awesome though.
Amazing too. He's basically given up his life, like he's ready to die because he pulls his knife out and he just like holds it out in front. You can tell he feels like he's defeated or beaten.
It was the Tom Hanks moment in Saving Private Ryan.
Yes.
The pistol against the
Yes,
tank.
exactly the same thing.
Yep.
And then instead of like the airplane coming and bomb it, you've got Yoda's just like reaches out, and I always love
That
watching
scene is
Yoda use the Force with the 3
amazing.
little horn fingers and just like,
Okay, Baby Yoda is adorable.
Yeah, so something that I think we sort of breezed past is like there's a lot of CGI in this, right? And it's like and it's used very well. And there were points where I was like, is that a puppet with like
Right.
CGI augments? Is it straight CGI? Whatever it is, it looked
They
great.
did
It
really
looks
good.
great. Yeah, it totally does. And so we get to see it again with like he lifts up the beast and he gets the
His
knife
little
in there and
baby
it's like
hand just.
so
sorry,
good.
3
Yeah.
fingers.
Yeah.
Well, like and the amount of power that he has in it. So and then I don't know. I don't want to get like dig deep into a discussion of like what species are better at the Force or whatever,
Right.
but. Up to this point, you've seen Yoda, and I don't know much about Yaddle.
Yaddle.
But
Old
she was
Republic, 1,000 years ago.
Force
Is that the one?
user as well.
Yeah, she was.
So it's like so we've seen like one of the ostensibly most powerful Force users ever in Yoda,
Right.
You know, and then another person who is Force sensitive, and now this child of 50 years old that is like with no training that we can discern,
right.
You know, just be that attuned to the Force to be able to save the Mandalorian's life.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we get to see him do that, and then it's like so they get this egg, and you get to see these little Jawas, and then it's like, what are they going to do with it? Are they going to worship it? I thought they were going to like raise it from a baby and train it.
Yeah.
And they would have this bad mudhorn protector.
Right.
Be like, "Urgh, mess with my Jawas. Nope. They go little drug addicts. They go,
Yeah.
Just disgusting.
Yeah, it was
Eat the
pretty
yolk.
gross.
It was.
But could you imagine?
grody.
I would have paid money to see the Jawas try to fight that mudhorn. They would have got slaughtered.
Yes, they would have.
Well, so the thing is, like, they could have just run it over the sand crawler.
They could have lured it out, I guess.
That's
but.
true. That's true.
But could you imagine, like, just the Jawas? The thing would have just been like bowling.
Yeah.
Boom. Teeny. We're blasting off again.
Sort of jumping back again too, like when he the chase scene where he like gets onto the sandcrawler and stuff, and seeing like the idea of them having like all these little compartments they can open up and attack
Right.
from, and
Right.
he called, I can't remember if it was him or the Ugnaught character. They said it was like this mobile fortress, but that's exactly what it is.
It
Right.
is.
It's this mobile fortress, and they kind of show off how they use it in a defensive
so
capacity.
funny.
It's really good.
Yeah, and we've never get to see that before. And then I love seeing the Mandalorian inside driving, and he's like bent over, and he's like,
smashed up in
yeah,
there.
he's like crunched up
And
in
whenever
there.
they go
It's
over,
so
Bumpy
funny.
whacks his head, and all the Jawas like, ah! They
Yep.
think it's
It's really
hilarious.
funny. So the first time ever, I'm gonna have to sneeze in a second. So we'll
Bless
see.
you.
Excuse me. Sorry, everybody. Oof, got some steam on my glasses. Don't mind me. Don't mind me.
Well, now that the podcast is ground to a screaming this week.
Right? Seriously.
So I can't wait. And again, I've been talking about it with coworkers who all, like, just a wide variety of people who I would have never thought, like, Star Wars have been loving The Mandalorian. And I think the release order was a really good idea. We're so used to binge watching it. It makes it stretch it out so that it draws out the hype and excitement for a longer period of time. It is kind of fun. And then it gives you a chance to watch other stuff on their platform.
That's true.
If they had released it all at once, I would have blazed right on through them. They would be done.
We would
by
already
now.
be done, and then it would,
Well,
and then we got to wait another however long to get to the next episode.
Right. Episode 1, we watched twice. I was at work. I texted Jeremy on lunch break. I was like, "Do you want to watch The Mandalorian again?"
And Kara's already like, "What are we gonna watch the second one again?"
So I want to rewatch the second one. It's just so good. It's like, well, I think you said this feels like Star Wars.
Here's what's sad. As much as I love the main trilogy, like, I liked that we watched The Last Jedi for our episode to do, and I prefer The Mandalorian to The Last Jedi.
Oh,
I feel like a lot of people
100%.
would. Like taking the hyperbolic hate towards episode 8 away.
Yeah.
Just straight up just on the merits of the two individual programs. Episode 8 there's a lot of problems with it, which you'll see in an upcoming episode
Yes, you will.
Great and Terrible Things about Star Wars. But the Mandalorian, there's like very few things where I'm like that. Ugh.
Right.
You know,
I
it's
don't know if there was anything where I was like, ugh.
Well, it's going to be...
if I had to offer one critique, for me as a person who is, I would say, like, so they're the people that are the level of fandom of you people. I'm sure of you two. I'm sure there are people that are like beyond it that are just like encyclopedic knowledge. You guys are up there. And then there's like my level where it's like I've seen all the films multiple times. I'm generally aware of some of the EU the Legends stuff. Or whatever, but I'm not like I haven't seen all the different things. And then there's like the casual fans who just see stuff here and there. Someone of the casual fan or my level, it might be like a little too just like into it right away. You know, it's like they do a pretty good job of sort of like of taking you along, but there's some things where it's like if there's just a little bit more explanation, and maybe it could be just part of the mystery of the show too.
Right.
It's only been a couple of episodes, so maybe they're just holding on to a lot of stuff to help like sort of like tell it over an amount of time. But that could be like if you're not like a hardcore or a more advanced Star Wars fan, it might be a little tough, at least in the initial going, to really jump into it. But like if you just like action and sci-fi stuff, I think that's, especially for me, that was more than enough to keep me interested throughout the whole thing. And then you get to the end of the first episode, it's like, oh, I have to see the second episode.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then by the time the events of the second episode have played out, it's like, there's no way I'm not going to at least watch out the rest of the season and see where it goes.
Right.
So that would be my only thing in terms of that, because like you get like in particular, and I don't know if again just because I am ignorant of the knowledge of it, like that whole metal bar thing where the person forges the pauldron for him. I don't understand.
It's a new thing, but I think it's implied that it must be valuable and it has a lot of meaning. I can only compare it to Valerian steel and Game of Thrones, which you haven't really seen either. But
yeah, the thing that is confusing to me, it's like, so what does the person who's forging it get out of it?
In that case, I don't know,
And like, it's like, because they're like, oh, it's good that it's back with the Mandalorian and stuff like that, but they don't really explain a whole lot of that.
Right.
And
I wonder if it's just like a precious metal. I think it's just a precious metal that comes from Mandalore.
And it seems like it's way more durable than other types of materials. Right. And it's like, it is. And so when I saw that, I was like, oh, is over the course of the first season, he's going to be replacing his armor with this better armor then?
Right. I'm guessing.
Or something, because then like you see his chest piece all mangled up. And then in the first episode,
his cauldron.
Well, no, I can't remember the name of the guy that's handing out the bounties or whatever. So like, there's more of this to come or whatever. Or no, that came from the
Empire. Yeah,
that came from the Empire.
And he's got to deliver. He already spent the coin, but he's supposed to deliver Yoda. So there's some.
He's got more coin for him. It's not just that.
Yeah, but I mean, like that was part of the deal. Was like do the bounty, bring it in.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be interesting to see. But
what he
I basically think it's one of those things. So like in Game of Thrones, there's Valerian steel. So there's only a select amount of people who can even process the ore and turn it into something.
Or like Lord of the Rings,
and then it's
Mithril.
rare. So it'd be kind of
so it's kind of like that elite tier material.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's rare, and it probably takes some skill to make. So obviously, like the Mandalorians, Mandalorians know what to do with it, so they're able to take it and make it.
And this all could be explained in other episodes and stuff, or maybe there'll be some adjunct comics or some sort of something that will fill in that gap.
Right.
But it's like, it seemed like it was pretty important, and maybe all that is important for us to know is that it is important.
Right.
But it is one of those things where it's like, it seemed like a weird thing to not just explain a little bit more.
Right.
So here's what it says about Beskar. In lore, Beskar is a precious iron sacred to the Mandalorian people and used to forge their armor. It's found on Mandalore and is known for its ability to withstand extreme force and heat.
Okay.
So that's like hence the blaster bolts and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
And so is the rest of his armor not already made out
It
of
must
that?
not be.
I don't think so.
And that's kind of what I'm thinking is like, so like that's why like his chest plate gets all mushed up. If he gets another one of those, maybe he would have had a better chance against was it Mudhorn?
Mudhorn, yeah.
So, it's like, so maybe that's sort of something we'll get to see
Yeah.
evolve. His armor will evolve as the show goes on, which might be kind of cool.
And like, I know, I'm guessing, so this guy, the client, the guy that gave out the bounty, he's Empire. So I'm wondering if the Empire knew the value of it, and that's why he has so much of it, because the Empire did go world to world and basically drain them of their resources.
That makes sense.
It's really interesting because it just the parallels between Star Wars and World War II, and especially like the Nazis, is there's just been a lot of articles lately about they're still returning artifacts and stuff that the Nazis stole during World War II.
Stolen treasures.
And it literally has that same kind of vibey
Rings,
feel
artwork.
to it. Yeah, everything.
Jewelry.
So it's kind of it's just
I
the
agree
parallelism
completely.
is so interesting to me.
And George Lucas has come out and even said like the trench run thing is based on old World War II runs where they would take bombers over things and stuff like that, and like there is so much World War II imagery inside of it. You know, even down to like the way things are designed and how they look and like the mannerisms. Freaking Force Awakens. There's that whole scene on Starkiller Base that's like a little on the nose.
I know, it's crazy. But that, okay, so all right, so there's been a lot of Mandalorian stuff, and I wanted to talk about it this week, but I think we might have to just maybe like wait one more week, but we did get to go to GalaxyCon too.
Oh, yeah, we did.
And that was
I think that was a good time
deal.
to sort of talk about it.
We can talk about it.
It was the first time GalaxyCon was in Minnesota.
There's
so
the Mandalorians there.
There was the
bridge piece.
Mandalorians.
Yes.
Oh, man. Oh, so much to talk about and unpack there, though. It's so the Mandalorians were really cool, and from what I understood, my favorite thing about meeting that group, which is now I want to build a Mandalorian outfit and then join them, was at the con you can hire them. Like I think like a donation through charity is what I think. You can hire them to go around and then they'll like arrest other cosplayers. And then
bring
throw
them
them in the
back,
jail for a
bounty,
minute or something, and that's really cool.
Well, it's
and
fun.
really
Like you fill out a paper. It says I so and so hereby whatever want this bounty fulfilled on so and so. But you fill out a paper and you give it to them.
Yeah.
like it's actually a bounty.
right.
Well, so and then
really
like
cool.
so we got to talk to some of the people, and they were super nice. They were really just
Very
like,
passionate.
Yeah, very passionate. Like their costumes were awesome.
All of
Master
them.
Chief.
They
Oh
ha-
my goodness.
Well, the costumes.
Oh, the Mandalorians,
They,
yeah.
they had the microphone,
comms.
which really just make it because
Yep.
it like distorts their voice to make it sound
And then they also talked about how charity work is a very important part of their group.
Right.
It's like going to like visit like kids in hospitals and stuff, or doing fundraisers, or doing things like at a convention where it's like they could just show up and be in their costumes and look really cool, but then doing that extra thing that's totally on brand for that type of character.
Absolutely.
To run around and like collect the people and everything, and then donate it to charity. Just like they're checking all these boxes where it's like that's like the best possible way to express your fandom.
yeah.
It is. I need to make a floating bassinet to follow me on the next con.
Is that possible?
Everything is possible.
Yeah. Well, does that
just
Possible.
mount it to a drone.
or Jeremy could just go to the Air Force and reverse engineer some alien technology and just make it.
Yeah, right.
We know that it exists.
I guess you can't make a floating bassinet.
And then,
Just
like,
reverse engineer alien technology just for Star Wars
cosplay, yeah.
Right.
cosplay.
How are you doing that?
of magnets.
Right.
Magnets.
It's always a magnet.
Weather balloon.
Yeah, swamp
The
gas.
swamp gas reflecting off of Mars or whatever.
Oh my gosh.
We got to meet like the Ghostbuster troupe who came to DuluCon. We got to meet there's a ton of passionate people. My favorite part about joining the GalaxyCon Facebook group was seeing all the people who it was their first con. And we've only ever had that this year. And I think, like, mark my words here, I think the convention thing is going to get even bigger because so many people have heard about Comic-Con and haven't had a convention accessible
Right.
to them. And now that they're kind of like infiltrating the market,
Yeah.
I think it's going to become a really popular
Well,
thing to do.
Even with like DuluCon, a lot of people, when they came to DuluCon, they said, this is the first con I've ever been to. And I've noticed a lot of people have said the same thing on GalaxyCon,
A
because
lot of people.
I think in Minnesota, really the only other one was LionCon.
Well, there was WizardCon, but that was like in the
before.
spring.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't know how long they were there for. I'd been to a couple of them.
Okay.
It's like in like similar setup, but I would say that like between the two, I prefer the way that GalaxyCon.
Yeah, I really
is
like
set.
It was insane. It was really cool. The way that they did the autographs and stuff with the celebrities, there was a lot of really cool stories that have come out since then about like different ways people, like the fans or the stars, have included their fans in their situation. To have like Bender, John DiMaggio, hold my phone to
And
take the
take a picture.
selfies. And
Well, it's funny because when he initially took the picture, he was standing a bit in front of us. Then he looked at the picture. He was like, "What?" And so he leaned way back into us and retook a picture.
That's actually the shot that's in the highlight video is when he goes to move in closer to you guys
Yeah.
to take the selfies.
he,
But I mean-
he seemed like a really cool guy. Like,
I definitely thought it was going to be like a behind the table thing because
Yeah.
he's got the table that separates. But I thought he'd like take your phone and then do it like this, with the table between you guys.
But yeah, no, he came out
he gets
around
out and
and-
comes out and he was right next to us. It was
Jeremy had him sign the autograph Later Losers.
Yep.
And he, like, John DiMaggio actually did it in Bender's voice. So it was really
amazing.
cool.
It's amazing. Again, voice actors will always like some of my favorite group of acting.
Oh yeah,
actors.
they're the most. I feel they're the most low key people. Like they're not like, oh, you might recognize me from. It's
Yeah.
like
And Darkwing Duck is who?
Jim
Jim
Cummings.
Cummings.
Jim Cummings.
So, like, one of the things that I think goes most underrated about voice actors is they have to do everything with just their voice. They have to
Right.
convey all of the emotion, all of the expression, all of the feeling of the character through just what they say. It's like granted you have animators doing stuff or whatever, but if like the performance doesn't match,
Right.
right.
So it's just like being able to meld those.
Well, that's why.
Together.
That's why I think I absolutely love Darkwing Duck so much, and that's why like Jim Cummings is amazing in that role because of like Darkwing Duck, this BA like Batman Duck,
Yeah.
will voice crack, and the range of the voice is so funny.
Yeah.
What's his sidekick's name?
Launchpad.
Launchpad.
McQuack.
So he'll be like, I can't even do it justice, but he'll be like, Launchpad.
Yeah.
It's like this wide vocal range. And
Yeah.
he does it over and over again
Yeah.
constantly, and just all the fun different, and like things that they do to their voice. It's amazing.
So I'm going to attempt to do my Darkwing Duck. I am the terror that flaps in the night. I am the cherry pit that ruins your Sunday. Launchpad, something like that.
Yes.
It's like sort of
Yes.
there, but yeah, it's like
It's so much fun. I'm glad you did. I love hearing people's attempt at it.
I tried doing it a lot when I was a kid.
Fun.
I've still tried to do Palpatine's laugh, and that one is so. There's two things that I haven't been able to grasp yet because it's like I can do James, from Pokemon, but is Palpatine's laugh, and I can't do Bender. Like I want to be able to do Bender, but it's such a hard. It's like it's his voice with a little raspy to it, and it's really hard to replicate.
I think the idea behind so when you look at people that are like impressionists, so like your Frank Caliendos and whatnot
Yeah.
in the world, it's about finding those phrases that are like most common to them, figuring out how to make yourself sound like that, then using that as a launching point to how to shape other words. So you need a lot of reference material, and then it's recording yourself and listening to yourself back, and like how do I make my voice like go to whatever. So like because I've seen Jim Cummings do a bunch of like Darkwing Duck, and I know it's sort of like a high back of the throat, like here we are,
Right,
But it's like, then you need there's like a forcefulness, like you have to like yell.
Yes.
He's never not yelling, and I'm like
Right.
trying to modulate my voice. I'm not just like blasting everything
Right.
out, but I've done it better than I've done it now.
Yeah.
But, so it's like there's a lot of work that goes into creating a voice or emulating a voice,
Right.
And a lot of voices, so like talking about like The Simpsons and stuff, a lot of voices are based on other famous voices, and they're like Chief Wiggum is Edward G. Robinson.
Right.
And Homer initially was Walter Matthau from like Grumpy Old Men and stuff like that.
Well, Zoidberg is something like The Godfather, right? Or like a Marlon Brando.
Yeah,
type
so
thing
yeah,
with just
it's
marbled-
like if Marlon Brando was a Jewish doctor.
Right.
Or like Ned Flanders is supposed to be George Bush 1 from the 80s.
Right, right,
So it's
right.
like there's a lot of voices that are based on other people's voices. They're doing a bad impression of somebody's voice.
Well, yeah, bad exactly.
That's what people like Hank Azaria is like, I've made a lot of money after doing really poor impressions.
Yes. So good. But yeah, it's like, yeah. So they had, all the actors set up there, and you could walk up to their booth and get selfies or photographs or selfies or autographs with them, and you can do like a combo deal and you get both for a better price. And well,
it's really funny because when we walked up to do John DiMaggio's, we went to pay for it. And Jeremy asked, he was like, well, is it okay if our camera guy records getting the autograph? And the lady looked at us and she was like, are you guys famous?
I should have said yes. Yes, I am actually.
Jeremy was like, no, we're just on a podcast. And I looked at Jeremy, I was like, no, at that point you say, yes, we are famous. You don't recognize us?
And he's super nice. Oh, man.
She was like, yep. And you would have said that and I would have gone into the bathroom and cried.
Also, there's that famous line from the end of the first Ghostbusters movie when Gozer asks if they're gods. And he's like, no. And then they get blasted. And then Winston Zedmore is like, if someone asks if you're a god, you say yes.
I should have said yes.
You should have said yes.
She would have been like, can I have your autograph? Like, oh, yeah.
Well, yes, you can.
Jeremy
Rise of the
Manthey,
podcast, Kara and Jeremy.
Yeah.
So, anyways, it's been a really fun experience to go down there, and I definitely want to hit up GalaxyCon next year for sure. And again,
definitely.
it was so crazy to try to like wrap my mind around everything, because we went to get in line what we thought was going into the main area, and we were in line for a panel.
That panel room is huge.
It's huge.
Like it had to be 1,000 seats.
Right. That looked bigger than the panel room that they had at Star Wars Celebration. Which, get this, if you went to the Episode 9 trailer in Chicago, Chris, J.J. Abrams bought everyone McDonald's.
Dang.
And it wasn't just McDonald's. It came in an Episode 9 box. And everyone got an Episode 9 beanie, like a hat, like a stocking cap.
That's crazy.
Right? So kind of Star Wars Celebration. I hope Pedro Pascal is at
the next one.
And I don't care what you say. I will go behind your back and I will buy myself a photo and autograph with Pedro Pascal. Just saying.
Or we could just go together and do it.
Yeah.
And both meet him.
I'm sure he's on board with it.
This is good.
So.
He not only played in The Mandalorian, he played in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Oberyn from
Game
Dorne.
of Thrones, and he played in Narcos too. He's a very big character in Narcos, which is really good. He's in 2 seasons of Narcos.
His character in Game of Thrones is BA. Like, he had the mountain. He had him.
Oh, brutal ending to his life, though.
Oh, he's dead.
Oh. There's no spoilers. Everybody dies in Game of Thrones.
That's true.
Except for me.
Don't like anybody in Game of Thrones.
Because you had your tray table up.
And let's see back in the upright position.
Yes. Okay, anyways.
Back to GalaxyCon.
Well,
No,
we can wrap up in a second, but I just want to say, like, some of the stuff that we like sort of grazed over was like all the different like the vendors and the artist alley and stuff like that. There's so many people that like, you know, we've spent a lot of time talking about like the cosplayers and stuff, but like so many creative people like showcasing their talents.
Yeah.
You know, and like there's just so much cool stuff there, and it's like the mecca for finding things.
Yeah.
That like are your like niche that you want to get.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So it's just like this.
Well, there was a vendor that had Ace.
Right.
From
Destiny. And Mida Multi-Tool.
Yep.
And
So
the sword guy.
Yeah.
You shot a lot of B-roll of those swords.
I
swords
didn't
were
mean
sick.
to. But
They had Geralt's sword from Witcher.
Yeah.
Swords are like, I know they're like usually a sort of a high ticket item that like a lot of people are interested in, but they're a little too expensive for my taste.
They are. You have to really, really like the subject.
They were decently priced, but I also think they were kind of
They were
quality.
They're cheaper, but they're
Well, I mean,
cool.
they're like replica swords. It's not like something you're going to go out and start fighting against the hordes.
Somebody break it in, grab and sting.
It's glowing blue. You know,
Right? No, but yes, that's exactly. You're not going to use it like home defense or anything like that.
yeah.
You're using it
Like,
as a
that being
defense
said, I'm
weapon.
sure that you could at least kill one person with it.
Right, or at least bonk them.
I mean, how scary would it be though to have a sword come swinging at your face if you bust into somebody's house? Like, I would nope out of there.
Like, yeah, that's like I've broken into the wrong home.
Right?
We don't need swords. We have a
My name is
attack
Inigo
dog.
Montoya.
Yeah.
But anyways, GalaxyCon was absolutely awesome. I can't wait to go back. We definitely have to keep an eye out for next year and make like a convention schedule for all the ones that we want to hit.
Well,
Yeah, and there's something for everybody there. It's
There
sort of
is.
what I want to
There
get to.
was.
It's like you don't need to be somebody who wants to go and get dressed up and like do the whole thing or whatever. It's like if you just want to go there and like check it out and see like the cool stuff
Right.
that revolves around these different things. And it's like every fandom is there. There's costumes that I had no idea what they were, but they looked amazing. You know, it's like
Right.
there's people
There's a lot of
selling
anime.
Yeah, like there were giant booths full of just all the like the manga and stuff that you could possibly ever want.
Well,
you
so
know.
I think my lunch situation describes it up because I had that kind of like zoomed out perspective when I was sitting there eating, and I looked around the room, and we were sitting with people we didn't know. There was a female Thor across from us. To the next table over was Spock. You had Kara dressed up as Rey. You had Master Chief walk in while we were eating lunch as well. It's like, where in the world can you go and have a lunch and get to be around all these different characters? And people will like, everyone seems to be generally in a good mood. So you've got just this high, and people come like they get post-con blues because it's just this endless rush of excitement. And especially it's like all the Doctor Who stuff and all of just the like it's a melting pot of all the science fiction. It's so much fun. I can't believe it, And it was like the Star Trek guy was like, "Oh, what'd you think about Rey's double saber from the trailer?" Yeah. Kara's like, "Oh, I think that is." It was like it's just this cross.
Yeah, it wasn't like they were fighting each other in the street or something. It's like Trek, no wars.
Right.
Lightsabers, phasers are better. Right.
I hate that people think that you can't like both.
Yep.
I grew up with both. I like both.
I like both. I postulated an argument to you two about the storytelling of Star Trek versus Star Wars.
Yes, you did.
Which we don't need to get into now. So it's like it's a place where people can go and express their fandom and be like part of a celebration of it, as opposed to like maybe like like in the greater society maybe it looked at a little bit weird.
Right.
But I think it's becoming more and more acceptable. Like Jeremy's saying, is like as the convention scene is like growing, it's like it's becoming a more mainstream thing. And in particular, I think like the MCU had a lot to do with that.
Yes.
These shows where they showcase like Big Bang Theory, where they showcase nerd culture in a way that's like in a positive light instead of being like, oh, isn't it funny? This guy still likes comic books. What a dork.
Right.
So.
Nope, it's totally cool.
Yep.
So yeah, that was a big thing. It was really easy to come up with like, hey, what are we going to talk about this week? Oh, we got Mandalorian. We have GalaxyCon. It's like lots of stuff happened in the past week. So
Yep. It's like thank you to everybody who discovered us because of GalaxyCon.
Yeah.
It's like
we love you all, and we can't wait to see you again next year.
Yep.
And
you guys, the MVPs, you did an amazing job there. And everybody that we didn't get a chance to talk to, we wish we would have had a chance, but it's like there's only so many hours in the day.
And if we did talk to you and you didn't make it into the video coverage, that's only because we had too much footage. I had so much stuff that I shot and Chris shot. It was like,
Yeah, it's like we wanted to not make people watch a 40-minute documentary.
maybe next year we can just release it on a separate thing or something. We'll just release all.
I was gonna say make a second clip. GalaxyCon 2.0.
Yeah, the things you missed.
Right.
But we want to know what you think too. Comment down below, like if you want to see a specific cosplay you want Kara to attempt, or we've been saying it since we started the channel that my coworker Dave is like, Kara needs to do tutorials on how to do cosplays, and I was like, every single time I'm not home, Kara does cosplay stuff, so I can't get it.
Well, because he distracts me with like, let's do this, let's watch this, I'm gonna record this.
I was gonna be nice and say that you also told me you like to spend time with me when I'm home.
I do.
So you don't want to work on cosplays.
No, that's not true at all.
She's like, oh, Jeremy.
Okay, here's the thing. He wants to shove me up in my craft room, up in a corner of the house. And so a whole room. But he's downstairs, I'm upstairs, and when he's like, I see him on the weekends, and that's it, mostly.
I mean, that's when I see him, and that's way more than enough for me.
But anyways, if you want to see Kara like cover a specific cosplay, or if you want to just let us know what you think. But again, I'm going to reach out to him, the guy from Cinephile Studios, have him on for an episode, and start having more people fill the chair over there, because that's why we got it. We want more guests on the show, because there's a lot of people that are just like Kara, Chris, and I, who love all things nerdy and fandom and science fiction and fantasy and just
all
really
the other good stuff.
All the other good stuff. So
yeah, that's it. So comment all that stuff down below. Subscribe if you haven't already. Ring the notification bell if you want to be notified of everything that we upload. We appreciate it. It means a lot to us. Like this video. Do all the things that you want to do, or don't. We're not your boss. And of course,
may the force be with you.